the importance of experimenting in photography, and why I think everybody should do it, whether you're a wedding photographer or a Formula One photographer. Now, what do I mean by experimenting? I mean, whenever you're out on a day of shooting, doing something you wouldn't normally do. That could be using a new lens, using a new filter, trying a new focal length, trying some new settings. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as you're trying something that is out of your comfort zone and is going to teach you something. I think you should be doing this as much as possible. Whenever you're out on a casual shoot or on a day trip, maybe out with some friends, if you have any. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this on a professional paid shoot because there's a difference between practice and performance. And this is a pretty widely known concept in music and sports and pretty much any discipline is there's practice and there's performance. You know, a paid shoot would obviously be performance, and pretty much any other time you could consider practice. If you feel up to doing the work necessary for practice. Sometimes you just want to shoot, and that's okay too. But I think practicing is super important. This doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be a new lens or a new filter or a long trip and trying out all these new gadgets or anything like that. Maybe you want to try shooting reflections in the water, you know, and you're out walking your dog and you have your phone with you and you're like, oh, that looks so cool. You take a picture with your phone. You can even be experimenting with the settings in your camera. One night I was tweaking the settings and remapping buttons to be exactly how I want them and to make my workflow a little bit more efficient. During that time, I actually ended up discovering and fine-tuning the zebra settings, and that's one of the things I've been experimenting with recently. I've been exposing exclusively using the zebras, and it's helped me get proper exposure so much easier, so much faster. And that's been a huge improvement in my workflow by just experimenting with that and discovering how much better that is. This is super important because everybody should be growing and expanding on their craft and learning everything they can about it, especially if you want to get a gig, if you want to do this for money. You never know when these little experiments, if you choose to share them, you don't have to share all of them, but I encourage you to share some of them, whichever ones you feel came out well, and maybe even some of the ones that didn't come out well, because you never know who will like it. And maybe a prospective client might see something that you did and be like, oh, that's really cool. Maybe they could replicate that for our brand or whatever. You never know what might happen. So just being there and experimenting and sharing that with people could result in a lot of different options. This could also introduce you to other concepts and other styles and ideas that you may have seen before or never even heard of, and it turns out that you like them and you enjoy them and you might want to pursue that a little bit further. So I kind of talked about what I've been doing recently and trying a lot of, and that's shooting at 35 millimeters, using a black mist diffuser to get a little bit less of that digital edge on my images. I've also been changing my subject matter quite a bit. I have been trying to shoot for great light. I used to just go out and shoot whatever I saw, which is great and helps with composition and all that, but shooting great light is hard to beat. So focusing on shooting great light has been really big for me. I also talked about the shooting much brighter, like just exposing much brighter than I was previously, and that's been amazing. I've also been using a lot slower of a shutter speed. You know, it can always feel nerve-wracking trying something new, and you know, you never know, the photos might not work out. Even if you do fail, and your photos don't come out well, keep in mind why you're doing it. You're experimenting, you're in practice mode, you're practicing, you're learning and growing and building your craft right now. You're not in performance mode. You're not shooting a wedding. You're not shooting a racetrack. You are shooting for your portfolio on your own time and shooting to grow on your own time. And you should be utilizing that time as effectively as possible and growing as quickly as possible to make your performance that much better when that time comes. I would love to see what some people are going to be experimenting with and sort of the new things you guys are going to try, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you're going to try. Let me know, and I would love to try some of it as well.